This episode of Unqualified is brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving communities since 1965. On the drive to and from my parents' house in Washington State, we almost always stop at two particular McDonald's, one in Salem, Oregon, and another in Eureka, California. At the moment, we are in the parking lot of the Salem location, and I just finished a Big Mac and fries. Even though we are just passing through, I appreciate the familiarity and feeling of community. The other day, I was looking through my mother-in-law's photo album and came across a photo where she and her friends are standing in front of a McDonald's wearing their cheerleading uniforms. I usually call my mother-in-law New Mom, but her name is Marcia. Under the photo, Marcia had written a note, and I talked her into letting me read it here. San Bernardino, California. I have so many memories of this McDonald's over the years. My father took me there on what I think was opening day. What a thrill it was as a young girl to order a chocolate shake, hamburger, and French fries. Then there was the time when my cousin Hinda and I were given a tour and allowed to take dill pickles by the cupful out of a huge barrel. We must have eaten 100 pickles each. Everyone in my family knows the story of how I accidentally missed the ketchup container and dipped a fry into my milkshake. Now when I dip fries in my shake, it's on purpose. I remember when I was 12 years old, my mother and my cousin Noel Novak, Larry's brother, picked me up from dance class, and we went for dinner to celebrate Noel's graduation from high school. Years later, when I was in high school, we would go to McDonald's every Friday night after the football game. I wish you could see this photo. Marcia couldn't remember if they won the game that night, but everyone is smiling as if they did. Wherever your local McDonald's is, there's nothing better than that wonderful feeling of community. Well, maybe that feeling is tied with eating a Big Mac. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Dad?
Can I take my earrings off?
No.
Quick.
No. Okay. Are we ready? So, we, tonight, I want to talk to my mom and my dad about how they met. Mom, Dad, can you please give us a story? It's a great story.
Well, I never dated in high school, and I sort of had given up on guys in general because I had very strict parents and was pretty shy.
And you were not very attractive.
Right. And so I agreed to go out on a double blind date. A third party sort of took pity on me. And I wasn't allowed to go out, almost period. And I certainly wasn't allowed to go out on blind dates. So, Jack, you can take it from here.
Well, it was a classic arranged relationship. Arranged by not a parent, but by a peer. And it started off actually with a pre-meeting before the high-stakes going to the movies. We met at a basketball game. And my friend and I were late because of automobile problems.
Is that the true story, though?
What do you mean, is that a true story?
That is true. You have to check someone out. I mean, even though I didn't date and I didn't have boyfriends, there was pride involved.
That's a story that I knew, but really, weren't you guys like maybe smoking a little weed, or
No.
were you guys just like, being late, or what?
Oh, no. We had, my older brother had come to town. He preempted use of the family car. Bryce had a problem with his car. His mother's Corvair, unsafe at any speed, had spiderwebbed the windscreen. And so we had car problems when we got there late, and the two girls, one of whom was Karen, were on the verge of... We met them actually in the lobby.
I said, we're leaving.
And
we don't wait.
But Sim, an important part of the story is that they had not determined which... So they're on this double-blind date. They had not determined who was going to be with whom.
Well, that's not quite accurate. My friend was substantially shorter than I, and so it was kind of understood that Karen would be my date because her friend Ray was shorter than Karen. And also the description of Karen, which I had received, strongly inclined me toward the tall blonde.
Yeah, smoking hot.
So at the basketball game...
I was a perfect child. I didn't do anything.
But so you guys hit it off at this basketball game, and then the next thing you know, you're skiing.
Well, I was dazzled. We had a wonderful conversation. She made me cheer for her friends on the high school team. I was a big-time college boy at this point.
I figured he is so good-looking, he is never going to want to date me, so why pay attention to him?
Mom, really?
Absolutely. I said, so
you
I
had no idea that like you looked like a Playboy bunny.
That is so wrong.
The next
but
night,
I just figured he's not going to like me, so why be nice to him?
Well, she was nice enough to make me feel comfortable. And the next night we went to the movies. We had a wonderful time. We went to see It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, which continues to be a favorite. And
we're old.
But I was too shy and too nervous and too intimidated by her beauty to risk asking for the phone number.
True.
So I filched the phone number from the third party who arranged all of this the next day and called her up and took the great plunge to ask her out for a date, a real date, not a no longer blind date.
But then I had to introduce him to my parents, who are never easy, and I came up with the name Faris because I couldn't remember his name.
You didn't.
I called him Jack Faris.
I wasn't entirely clear on her name either, but that didn't really matter. Names were very secondary.
You guys didn't. No, I love this. All right. So it's Jack Faris, and what was Mom?
We got this sorted out before it came to your birth certificate.
And honestly,
she was. I think I didn't understand her maiden name was Bathurst, as you know, but I thought it was maybe Bathers. I just didn't get that straight either.
It's all very confusing.
Okay, so now this makes sense. So then you decide to punish me with Anna.
I think millions of fans would disagree that your name is a punishment.
You're named after your grandmother, and she spelt it A-N-N-A, and it was pronounced Anna.
Well, now...
So to swing back and put a bow on this early stage, this was 1964, just before Christmas. I asked her out for the night after Christmas.
Were you nervous?
Oh, very nervous. And I was prepared emotionally for a potential shutdown, or at least, the vague demurral. Let me get back. Let me check my calendar. But, she said yes. And so I was so ebullient that I called her back 20 minutes later and said, would you like to go skiing on Sunday? And in fact, I think I asked her if she did ski. She lied and said that she did. And we had a wonderful time skiing. And from that point on...
If I'd said no, what would have happened?
I would have said, well, let me teach you how to ski.
Yeah, and Mom,
I'm telling you, faking
you
skiing
are a
in
bombshell.
Washington State.
And...
So untrue.
And so I bet that Dad was unbelievably handsome. It still is. You guys were just sort of a match made in heaven.
Very lucky.
And I bet that any way you played it, but I love it that you played it proud. You're like, yeah, I can ski.
Sure.
So 3.5 years later, we were married.
Yeah.
Oh.
And... he got a opportunity to go to grad school, and it was just lucky, and then he got drafted.
Yeah.
But we were literally, I guess you could say, love at first sight. And I just thought, well, it's true. I haven't had any boyfriends, but, this guy, who would not want to be with him? And you'd be an idiot to blow that. And so, 2018, we will have our 50th wedding anniversary.
Hopefully up in Washington State.
I think so.
What party are you going to throw us, darling?
Well, I just know that I am incredibly fortunate that I have parents that love each other and set a great example on how to love in a beautiful way. I know that Sim does too. We talk a lot about this, about how his parents have an amazing relationship, and they also feel incredibly protective and over their own children, and maybe love us a little too much.
I think deep down, Anna and I love that, though.
Of course, how could you not?
Thank you.
But it definitely puts pressure on the people that come into our lives, because
I think
I think you should be eating a little bit more.
I think in relationships, though, not often can you get as lucky as we did. But however you find someone, don't let it go, and be kind. The best advice, if you want a little bit of advice, that this guy over here gave me was when I was maybe not so nice. He said, you would not treat your best friend that way.
So, Mom, normally that's the kind of thing that a man has to say to a woman. But you were defensive. You had your guards up. You were like, maybe this guy is too good to be true. Maybe,
absolutely,
like he's you had.
Well, and I was from the other side of the tracks, and so that also gives you a kind of a complex, growing up the way I did, and so you sort of look at life with kind of a cynical eye.
That is true.
I don't trust anyone.
No, my mom, oh gosh, there were so many mantras you used to say to me. Something like, you would say, well, if it sounds too good to be true, then it is. Like, only idiots play the lotto. Like, there were all kinds of things. Like,
and take your vitamins.
Yeah, but you were never cruel enough to say to me, if you want to be an actress, it's not going to work out for you. But you did temper my expectations, which was good for me.
We both wanted you to finish college first. And of course, you're an amazing writer and a wonderful, amazing actress. So you could do anything you want.
Amazing. But Sim's parents would say the same thing about him. Like, it's a wonderful gift.
Yeah. So, you got your degree in English literature, which I'm so proud of. And then you pursued, got in your little Honda and drove down to big bad Hollywood. Gave up a job in London to do it.
Yeah.
Paths, that's a topic. Paths where you choose that are
And I love it
huge.
that you guys believed in me, that you were like, goodbye, see ya.
No, I was scared to death.
You were? I didn't know
You
that.
and I driving down in your Honda?
Oh, I just thought you were scared about how fast I was
No,
going.
I was scared about you living. And then, of course, when you found the apartment, you didn't show us the back side of the apartment, which was really, not very safe neighborhood, and a fire escape that led right to your unlocked window.
But,
Big bad Hollywood.
There's only one way to
I know.
learn.
That's right.
And
you were strong,
and you guys gave me the turn.
Strong and intelligent and wise, and you made those decisions, and I couldn't be prouder.
Thanks, Mom. And I love your love story, and I feel so fortunate that my parents are still married, and we're about to celebrate a huge anniversary. And
I love your love story, Anna. I love it.
Chris and I. Oh yeah,
Chris and you and that beautiful baby.
And Sim's parents' love story is amazing too. They had an arranged marriage, and they are more in love than most.
That's true.
Anybody that. So all the different ways we find love. And now, Mom and Dad, I'm going to excuse you so you can look after Jack while we talk about raunchy stuff. I love you.
Oh, Anna.
Not that raunchy, Mommy. Not that raunchy. Not that raunchy. We're trying to tame ourselves.
Thank you, darling.
Mom, thank you. Thanks, Dad. I love you guys both.
Love you, darling.
This episode of Unqualified is brought to you in part by Warby Parker. Warby Parker was founded with a rebellious spirit and the lofty goal of creating boutique quality eyewear at a revolutionary price point. Sunglasses, with or without a prescription, start at $95 and, just like eyeglasses, are available through their home try-on program. You just choose 5 pairs and see which ones you like. I was surprised by how quickly they arrived, which presented me with the immediate problem of deciding which ones to keep. I loved all of them, so you can guess what happened. And not only can you feel good about how cool you look, you can also feel good knowing that for every pair of glasses sold, Warby Parker distributes a pair of glasses to someone in need through partnerships with nonprofits like Vision Spring. Offering eyeglasses, sunglasses, contact lenses, and eye exams, Warby Parker is committed to providing exceptional vision care online and in stores. So put your FSA or HSA dollars to good use on Warby Parker prescription glasses, prescription sunglasses, contact lenses, and eye exams. Try Warby Parker's free home try-on program. Order 5 pairs of glasses to try at home for free for 5 days. There's no obligation to buy. Ships free and includes a prepaid return shipping label. Try 5 pairs of glasses at home for free at warbyparker.com/unqualified. That's warbyparker.com/unqualified. This episode of Unqualified is brought to you in part by Osea. Wondering what to gift your friends and family this holiday season? Female founded over 25 years ago by a mother and daughter team, Osea's award-winning cleansers, serums, face moisturizers, and body products give you the results you want. Skin that looks and feels amazing. I recently got to try Osea's new body butter, which, like their now famous Undaria algae body oil, transforms dry skin without being greasy, has the same incredible scent, and leaves your skin soft, smooth, and healthy looking. If my experience is any indication, you can count on your partner giving you a lot of compliments. This holiday season, stock up and share your new favorite clean skincare and body care with your friends and family. Unqualified listeners get 10% off your first order with promo code ANNA at OseaMalibu.com. You'll get free samples with every order, and orders over $50 get free shipping. Gifting is always easier if you start early, so head to OSEAMalibu.com. Use code ANNA. Okay, everyone, tonight we have the most amazing Allison Rosen, who has an incredible podcast, and she is my new best friend, as most of the world's, which makes, as a woman, makes me feel really good. Because I don't know why, as women, we're so reluctant to, like, embrace each other. And that's sort of a sad state of affairs. It's hopefully changing because of people like you. But here's how we were going to open it. This is how unqualified we are. I have my notes here. This is not probably how, I know this is not how you open your podcast, but what I wanted to ask you was, so we're very new at this, very much amateurs, and it's been a learning curve, and maybe not even much of a curve because we don't know what we're doing. But I wanted to ask you, having done your incredibly successful podcast for a long time now, what inspired you, and what have you taken from it, and what advice can you give us?
My gosh, these are all really good questions. First of all, thank you so much for that super nice introduction, and thank you for having me.
And well, I forgot to mention to our audience how fucking hot you are.
This just gets better and better. I'm really excited to be here. So thank you so much. And also, I think that you're selling yourself short because your podcast is really good. Oh. And I know that you are saying you're unqualified, and being, honest about being new at it. But I was actually thinking about this when I was listening. I forget specifically which episode it was, but I was thinking, even though you're saying that you don't really know what you're doing, there's a confidence and authority that you have that comes across. So I think you're doing really well so far.
Well, thank you. But that's part of the unqualified thing. Like, only an egotistical person can say, like, I'm going to do a podcast, even though I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing.
That's everyone, I think, who does podcasts. I've kind of always been fascinated by people, and I've always wanted to get to who they are and to find out, what's going on with them, and to sort of talk about the real things. And I was a journalist for years, and I think that's where I really got a lot of practice interviewing, because I was interviewing all the time. And then I started when I was living in New York, I started doing a web show. And then I switched from doing this web series to doing a live streaming internet show. And that was called Allison Rosen Is Your New Best Friend. And I did that for a couple years. And then I moved back to California and then started the show up as a podcast. So different format, but some of the same segments and sort of the same music and the same feel. But instead of having a bunch of guests, I would just have one, and it was just a one-on-one interview. And then I added a second show a week. So there's the Monday show, which is the one-on-one interview, and then Thursday show, which has a panel. And I guess, sorry, this is all my roundabout way of trying to explain what inspires me.
We want to hear this. Yeah.
I think what inspires me is wanting to connect with people and feeling like the more we talk about the stuff that we are uncomfortable talking about, the more healing it is. Because I think so many people walk around with shame, and they walk around feeling different and feeling weird and feeling like they're the only ones who feel that way. And like, why did I say that? That wasn't cool. That was lame. And what did that person think when that happened? And thinking that, I feel like that's the human condition, to feel a little bit off. I hope it is. Otherwise, I'm just the only one.
You're the only one.
I'm the only one. No. Everyone else has it figured out. So yeah, I just like being able to connect with people and sort of sharing in what it means to be human. That was super, super pretentious, lofty answer.
No, it was not pretentious. It was honest. And it actually makes me, I wanted to talk to you about this other element to this idea, because even though I'm very new and I have no idea what I'm doing on this podcast, but I'm loving it, it makes me feel, in contrast to when I do publicity and I wanted to talk to you about this, about like when we do talk shows, 99% of the time I like walk off the stage and I'm like, I'm just, it's done. Like I need to just walk off the cliff and call it a day, because I feel like I've either played a weird version of myself, and I wish, that I hadn't, where I told a dumb story that
didn't really even make sense and wasn't all that amusing. And I'm working on like making sure my leg cellulite isn't showing and like, and the podcast has been a relief in that way where I feel like this is an arena where I can be a little more honest.
Which maybe comes from having the podcast and feeling like I've gotten validation and acceptance by just being myself.
Yeah, I feel like it's given me a sense of control over how like where in all other publicity realm, whether you're doing interviews or talk shows or whatever, it's someone else has control over sort of the presentation of who you are. And the podcast has given me this feeling of like, now I get to, sort of unapologetically, but I'm also actually really sorry, everyone. But present, myself, my true self, under my terms, and that feels incredibly liberating.
It's empowering.
And, yeah, Chris and I talk about this a lot, my husband, because we become more and more agoraphobic.
Yes,
and so that's why, in the weirdest way, even though. I think what we have now, 100 million listeners. Right, guys?
It's going up as you speak. It's like 200 million now.
But there's this safety in being right here in my dining room and still getting to kind of express myself. But yeah, we don't leave the house very much.
But you're still a social person. I mean, people just come to you. You won't leave the house, but you'll invite people over.
The poor people that care for me enough. I feel like I'm in like hospice or something. Like, like the deer, I've weeded out like a lot of people because they're just like, oh, I always have to go see her. And even though I love them, they're gone now. But because, yeah, I have like, an increasing amount. And I think it's partly having a toddler. It's partly because of, I feel like I get my picture taken as I'm like eating a chicken burrito at, Paquita Moss or something. It's embarrassing. And, or I feel like I'm never really in the tabloids, but if I am, it's like stars without makeup. And so, yeah, it's there. So I think too, part of LA is, it's very hard to be spontaneous, and it requires an effort to kind of leave the house. Thank you for being here. Do you know what's going to happen after the podcast?
I don't.
Should we tell her now?
Or should we keep it a surprise?
We're going to tie you up with a big, strong rope.
This is not what I was expecting.
Haul you up to my attic.
This is why I don't leave the house.
We'll give you some blankets.
Perfect.
We'll give you a couple raw potatoes.
Wonderful.
And we're just going to keep you there.
She keeps saying we. I have nothing to do with this. And Mike as well. We have nothing to do with this.
This is the muscle right here. Mike and Sam.
Also, I think being married, you can get away with being less social because you're not truly alone. I mean, I think for me, that's, if I were single, that would be impetus to get out there more.
Right.
Whereas now I'm like, I feel safe here in my pajamas with you, and I
it's
don't
also
want to
like,
go out there.
The only reason to go out a lot when you're in LA is to like meet people if you're single. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to go out and flirt. I want to go dance or whatever. I was actually never that person.
No, I wasn't either.
Who goes out and dances in LA?
I don't know.
Do people do that anymore?
It's so funny you say that because my husband was just saying that last night. He was like, is there still a nightclub scene? I assume there must be. I don't know where it is.
Maybe we're just, or at least I'm too old for that.
I think we're too old for it.
We've just lost 200,000 of our listeners.
So wait, but Anna, do you have a big group of friends now?
No.
No.
And I never have. I've always had a pretty, like two or three really close girlfriends.
Do you consider yourself, sorry, go ahead.
No. That was all I was going to say.
Do you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
An extrovert. Well, I'm an introvert that's playing the character of an extrovert.
Yes. I totally relate to that.
Yeah.
I totally relate to that. Like, I'm outgoing. If there's a mic or if there's a camera or if I'm in any sort of professional capacity, I can be very outgoing. But genuine social interaction, often I feel drained afterwards.
Yeah.
And I've heard, I don't know if it's, I've heard the definition of introvert versus extrovert is how do you recharge your batteries? Like if you're an introvert, you have to sort of pull away from people to recharge and to get your energy back, versus extroverts get energy from being with other people. And my sister is, I think, a true extrovert in that the idea of going for a couple of days without seeing anyone or just hanging out in her apartment, she would go nuts. She can't stand that. She needs to see people all the time. And I'm like, I don't understand how you can do that.
When I was a kid, my parents' goal was for me to never lose my virginity. And so I had a massive amount of like dental work, including headgear.
Oh, wow.
And during those years, oh boy, I always imagined, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go live in Yukon territory. I'm going to try to get like a green card to Canada or whatever and live by myself in the middle of nowhere, because that's where I would find happiness. And I really believed that. Like I would spend a lot of time alone. I would write like long passages in my diary. And so it was so confounding that I wasn't very popular.
My favorite show growing up, and I talk about this all the time, was Facts of Life. And I really wanted to go to a boarding school. And there was something about that idea of being away from your parents, being around just, a bunch of, like that closeness with a bunch of girls that I really wanted. And when I think about that, that's kind of what a sorority promises. Yet by the time I was in college, I was like, no, there's no part of me that would want to be in a sorority.
Their personalities didn't necessarily, there wasn't a forced in defense of Facts of Life.
Please.
There wasn't a forced conformity.
That's true.
I mean, we had Joe. Mm-hmm. We had Tootie.
Blair.
Right.
Blair.
Nat.
And Nat. I mean, you couldn't add like 4 different personality types.
Who was your favorite?
Well, everyone's favorite was Joe. Right?
I cannot choose a favorite.
Really?
People have asked me before, and I just can't choose one.
Joe, for sure. Nancy McKeon,
Really?
biggest crush on her growing up.
Super
She's
hot.
great.
Yep.
I just think they're all great. I just really do. Mindy Cohn follows me on Twitter. She followed me, and then she unfollowed me, and then she followed me again, and then she liked one of my tweets sort of recently, and I've been on the receiving end of this before, but I've never done this before. I wrote to her and I said, "Thank you for liking my tweet. I'm a huge fan." And then she wrote back, "Ditto." And I literally jumped in the air. I was holding my phone out, showing my husband, and my feet left the ground. And I'm still on a high over the fact that Mindy Cohn is a fan of me and apparently a fan of my show. Which, of course, begs the question, why have I not tried to get her on?
Right. I was going to ask
I
you.
know.
She played Natalie, by the way, if
Yes.
anyone's wondering. Yes.
I think I'm just afraid, like, what if it doesn't go well? What if she doesn't want to talk about what I want to talk about? I don't know. She's just held such an important, like, my Mount Rushmore, Blair, Joe, Natalie, and Tootie. I don't want to fly that close to the sun.
I have similar. I had my favorite actor growing up was Conrad Bain. And I've never been starstruck like I was when I saw Conrad Bain.
I don't know who that is.
Conrad
Mr. Drummond,
Bain
right?
played Mr. Drummond on Different Strokes. And by the way, so Miss Garrett was on both shows.
Yes,
I think
it was a
I think
spin-off.
Facts of Life was a spin-off
It
of
was.
Different Strokes. Right. By the way, your audience has no idea what you're talking about at all. But when I saw him at a Mexican restaurant once, I just didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I was with my buddy Mark, and we were just like, we were both so starstruck. We're like, that's Conrad Bain.
Did you talk to him?
No, I couldn't.
Yeah.
So
I think that the people that you're super into when you're young, like just always are, I don't know, you get very starstruck by them. What were you into, Anna? Sorry.
Golden Girls. And my mom didn't let us watch a lot of television. In fact, she would check, like back in the box television days, she would check to see if it was warm when when she would come home. But I have a reality program starstruck problem.
Who?
Well, back, I don't know, it was a few years ago, I saw The Situation.
Mike, The Situation, Sorrentino?
Yes.
And I started trembling, and I grabbed Chris's arm like a witch, and I was like, it's a situation right there. Can we go up? And meanwhile, it's like GQ Man of the Year party, so there's lots of incredible stars all around, but man, sometimes it's just, there's no rhyme or reason to who tugs at your, starstruck heart.
What was it about The Situation that you love so much?
Well, it was during the Jersey Shore heyday, but I loved that they were, they sort of created kind of a family unit in a weird way. They would have like Sunday Italian dinner. Like they had these weird morals, or at least a sense of family code that you wouldn't have expected for a group of, strangers. And they would all look out for each other. Yeah. They would all get wasted. Sure, they would all fight, but they had this Sunday dinner. Like I couldn't, and they would all cook. Like it was truly sort of,
they would work out together. They would do laundry together.
Yeah, they would tan together. But just the idea of, growing up in Seattle, that is so foreign to me, that whole thing. Anyway, that's
kind of, it's like you would have, like you were saying, you would have wanted to be in a sorority.
Yes. Yeah. Even though I never wanted to admit that to myself because I wanted to be a hard, cynical person, but it turns out I'm not.
I remember being disturbed by Sammy and Ronnie's relationship. I didn't watch all the seasons of Jersey Shore.
Oh, yeah.
But that was pretty rough, right?
It's true. You have very good reason to be disturbed.
Did he destroy her bed or step on her glasses, or there was put her bed on the balcony?
Oh,
something.
Ronnie. You're right.
Crazy.
Ronnie did bed on the balcony. Well, you know what? If Chris ever leaves me, I want to run straight either into The Situations or Ronnie's or anyone from Jersey Shore, whether they were on the show or not, right into their arms if they will take me.
This episode of Unqualified is brought to you in part by ZocDoc. Who gets excited about trying a new restaurant that has 2 out of 5 stars? When it comes to finding healthcare, don't ratings matter even more? ZocDoc is a free app where you can compare doctors, read reviews from real patients, and even make same-day appointments. When I finally called to reschedule my dentist appointment, I was told that my dentist had been retired for nearly 3 years. In my defense, parking was a nightmare. Through ZocDoc, I found a new dentist who had great reviews, took my insurance, and whose office was actually within walking distance. I was also able to book an appointment instantly without talking to a receptionist who made me feel guilty about not having my teeth cleaned for 3 years. My new dentist didn't make me feel guilty either, and only suggested I floss a little more often. Whether you need a primary care physician, dentist, dermatologist, psychiatrist, eye doctor, or other specialist, ZocDoc makes healthcare easy. Now is the time to prioritize your health. Go to ZocDoc.com/unqualified and download the ZocDoc app. Sign up for free and book a top-rated doctor who might be available as soon as today. That's ZocDoc.com/unqualified. This episode of Unqualified is brought to you in part by State Farm. And in honor of their surprisingly great auto insurance rates, I'm going to tell you about a particularly surprising day on set. It takes me a long time to read a script. For almost every line of dialogue, I will stop to figure out why my character would say it, how it fits in the conversation, and how it's going to come out of my mouth. Between the lines, there are larger chunks of text which describe everything else happening in the scene. Maybe what a room looks like, what characters are wearing, and what they're doing. As I often underestimate how long everything in my life takes, I know I can make up some time by reading those larger chunks a little faster. I got the script for Overboard about 6 months before we started production. I read it in my warm living room, wearing comfortably warm clothes, sipping from a warm mug of tea. Somehow, it never occurred to me that when you jump off a boat in the middle of the ocean, the water is surprisingly cold. And it doesn't get any warmer on take 2. Here at Unqualified, we love State Farm because they provide coverage that meets your needs at a surprisingly great rate. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
That's what I'll be.
I think we should have
a
the
caller.
situation.
Oh,
The situation on the podcast, but we should have a caller.
we'll love that.
As well.
Hello?
Ashley.
Yes.
Hi, you're on Unqualified, and I'm sitting here with Anna Faris, and Allison Rosen is also here with us. How are you?
Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
It's Anna. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Wait, where are you?
I am about to walk out to my car. So I'm walking outside for just a moment, and then I will be in my quiet car.
Okay, but
in my
In what
driveway.
state is this car?
I take it you're trying to be alone, right?
Yes.
Yes.
okay, so wait, but what state do we?
She's in New Jersey.
Okay. Is it freezing
Yes.
there,
I'm in New
Ashley?
Jersey with my nosy boyfriend. So I
Love
can't
it.
hear.
So, Ashley, I think many women will relate to your question. So you want to know if it's time to give your boyfriend of 7 years the ultimatum. So give us some
Exactly.
background. Give us some background here.
We have been together since 2009. We met in college, and Brian and I are very happy. We have a great relationship, and everybody always tells us that. And I picked up all my stuff from where I lived before and moved myself from Pennsylvania to New Jersey. It's like 3 years ago. We've had like an apartment already. We bought a house. We have a dog. Our friends all started to get engaged now, and I'm pretty much the last one standing, and he hasn't asked me yet. So now I'm in a position where I'm not sure if it's something that I want to give him an ultimatum now.
Oh man, this is like the woman's dilemma. Mm-hmm. I bet every female that's listening can relate on some level to this.
And it sort of seems like there's a window where if it doesn't happen in the first X amount of years of relationship, then it might not happen for a while. And I don't know why that is, but I've heard of that story so many times. Ashley, do you have a sense of why he isn't proposing, or what his, if he has hesitation, what that is about?
I'm not sure. We've talked about it before, and he always says, "Oh yeah, I'm ready for this." And yes, of course, we're going to spend the rest of our lives together, So I don't know if it's him just being lazy, honestly, and not trying to make a plan of how to propose.
Is he where he wants to be in his career? Because I think a lot of times
Great
men
question.
put marriage after the career goal, and if they're not there yet, then they're like, I can't think about that till I achieve this.
No, because he owns his own business, actually, with his brother. So they're pretty much set and
Older
where
brother,
they want to be,
younger
I think.
brother?
An older brother. He's the youngest of three.
Oh boy, a younger sibling is, and I say this, I am a younger sibling, but they're a little harder to pin down. But, okay, so he knows that you would like to be engaged.
Oh, he knows. He knows, yes.
What does he say when you talk about it?
You know, a lot of times he wants to brush it off, not really talk about it. I think we've talked about it a lot, and I kind of tried to back away because I thought maybe I was pushing him, you know, where he didn't want to be pushed. So I try to not talk about it as much anymore. Yeah, but it's still just, it hasn't happened, and he knows that I'm ready for it, and he knows it's something that I definitely really want, but I don't know.
How old are you guys?
27, both of us.
So you're still pretty young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering, is there a way, and I don't know if you have this ability, but is there a way that you could take like a trip with your girlfriends? And the reason, okay, I'm going off what seems like a tangent, but it is relevant.
Okay.
Where you could, I don't know what your finances are, but if you could take a road trip with a couple girlfriends, make him feel like, without being overt about it, but make him feel like you are also independent and not necessarily, even though you want the sense of security, as most reasonable people do. But I wonder if there's a way that you could sort of back away from any kind of marriage talk about doing something extensive with your friends, or doing some things that you would like to cross off your bucket list, like, I don't know, go like a quick trip to New York by yourself, or something where you are exerting a sense of independence, because then that may trigger in his mind, like, without you doing anything that, you know, without like you cheating on him or anything, but maybe that will start to, I don't want you to freak him out, but maybe that could give him a little bit of a, you know, what do they call it? A little fire.
No, but I think you're right. I think if he is like, even if it's not a conscious thought, just even feels for a second like, oh, wait, she might not always be here. That might make him step up a little more.
Yeah. Yeah, because guys are idiots. And sorry, Sim. But I think that there is value in a guy missing somebody and thinking like, oh, okay, well, this person, I didn't realize quite how much I depended on them. Do you guys live together?
Yes.
You guys own a house together, right?
Yeah, we own a house together. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that maybe you could gently tell him, honey, I know, you know, we spend so much time together and I love you so much, but I really, it's always been my dream to go to so-and-so, wherever, whether it's even by yourself. And even though you would want him there with you, do something alone that makes him miss you and that makes him feel like Sim is totally disagreeing with me. But I feel like then he would be alone in your house and feel like, well, what is this? This feels lonely. And who's like taking care of? No, Sim totally disagrees. Okay, what do you think?
I mean, I'm 27, and if I was 27 and my live-in girlfriend of 7 years decides to go on a weekend trip with her girlfriends, I'd be like, fuck yeah, go, have a great time. I'm going to invite my buddies. We're going to, play poker, get drunk, do something, and it'll be great for both of us. I would be excited about it because I know she's going to come right back.
But maybe that's great. But what I'm saying is the house is going to come, like she's going to come back. The house is a fucking shit mess. And he's going to look around and be like, oh yeah, I forgot to take the garbages out and don't punish him for any of those things. But I think that
I don't think he'll immediately go to, oh, I should marry you now.
No, I agree with you, but I do think that a man gets used to being taken care of, and so why marry when everything's already set?
That's how he's feeling right now.
Right.
I feel like he's in a place like, you know what, this is working out great. I love the way, why, and
exactly.
we're both 27. Why should we even, right now, it'll happen when it happens. Ashley, let me ask you this. Have you ever asked him straight up, when do you think we're going to get married? And what did he say when you asked him that, if you asked him that?
I asked him that maybe before the new year, some point towards like the end of last year, and he said sometime in the next few years is usually his answer.
Okay.
Like very not specific.
So you guys would both be 30. Is that so? I guess part of it has to do with the fact that you've been together for 7 years. It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm also thinking 27 is also really young. I wasn't ready to get married at 27, not even close.
I did get married at 27, and it did not end as well as I thought. Well, it ended. But I do think I think that Sim is on to something. But here's the thing is that women, at least, some people want to know what the plan is. And there's validity in that. That's an okay feeling to have.
I think he has a plan. I think he loves her, and I think he wants to get married to her eventually. And I think they are already building a life together. They bought a house together. Things are great in their relationship. She just doesn't have a ring yet.
Yeah, it sounds like he just wants it to be on his timetable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I feel like it's difficult to be in a relationship where you want to feel like you're a catch, and you want to feel like, I could potentially leave this situation and marry someone else, and and so the relationship right now is on his timetable.
Absolutely.
And that's not necessarily fair to her.
It isn't. But that's why I think that's why she wants to know, is it time for her to give him the ultimatum? But that might freak him out, and she may lose him because of it.
Mm-hmm. I also don't want to give an ultimatum because that's not how I want to get engaged. I don't want it to be, okay,
well, you don't want to force
this ring or I'm leaving.
Right.
That's not what it's supposed to be about at all.
Right. That's not romantic at all.
For the record, my parents' engagement story involves an ultimatum my dad gave my mom. And it's this funny shared story they have. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I'm like, well, that's kind of fucked up. Actually, I hope it's okay to swear. But
of course.
So I'm not advocating either way, but I'm just saying if there was an ultimatum involved, you guys would find a way for it to be like this cute shared thing that happened. But I agree that it's not ideal. It's not how anyone imagines it happening.
And also maybe, engagements can last a long time, for as long as anyone wants.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. And so maybe you could be honest with him and just say, listen, part of my makeup is I just want to know where things are going. And I want to know if we are headed towards marriage. And maybe that's in 4 years or whatever, but I need to know this. Otherwise, because I've got a timeline that I want.
I don't think
of
Ashley
life.
would be happy with that answer, though. I think she wants to get married now. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ashley, but you want to be engaged soon, right?
Definitely, yes.
Okay, so if he said, yeah, we're going to get married in 4 years, you would not be happy with that, would you?
I would be upset with that answer, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say if it's not in the next year, I'd be very upset.
Okay.
This is probably the wrong question to ask, but can I ask why? Because I'm someone who, after I was already living with my boyfriend. We got married. Things are great, but I was like, not very much has changed. Marriage doesn't feel that different. And especially if you've been together that long.
Yeah, I think he doesn't think it's going to be that different either, though. Like, we've talked about that. Like, we're practically already married, and, we come home to each other every night, and it's just the two of us, and we don't go out as much as we used to, and we stay in more, the two of us, and so I don't know.
But I will say that I think, and I wish this wasn't the case, but because I view our conventional idea of marriage as pretty archaic, but what it does mean is that people in your life respect your relationship in a different way. That's
a big part for me.
That's true.
And I wish that, I really wish that it wasn't the case, because I wish the state wasn't involved and whatever. But whatever. Those issues aside, we have, especially as women, a ton of social pressure with the idea of marriage. And people, there's a difference when you introduce your partner to friends as, this is my boyfriend, as opposed to, this is my husband. And that, you can't help but feel the different level of respect. And, granted, some women, whatever, it's still, there's still infiltratability. Do you think that's a word?
I think it should be. It might be.
It makes sense.
That can happen, but it really is a different thing when, even though you feel married and your partner's like, we basically are married, there's still that social effect of people respecting your relationship in a different way.
You're right. And I bet, Ashley, you get this all the time. I bet people, your friends, family, they're always saying, why aren't you guys married yet?
Right.
Why is he taking
right.
so long? And I bet you've gotten to the point where you're just sick of hearing that, right?
If I hear it, I think the next person that asks me when Brian is going to propose to me, I might just punch them in the face.
Right.
Because I just don't want to hear it. It's not, I don't even have an answer for it anymore, because it's like, I just don't know. Hopefully soon, I don't know.
This is why I'm saying, are you in a profession where you could take a week by yourself?
I'm a teacher, so I could find over a break or something, definitely.
Because I think that might be really empowering for you. And it will truly kind of scare the shit out of him. If you're like, I'm going to leave for a week. I just have to do a little bit of, I want to do some traveling by myself. And I really think you should, even though you'll miss him like crazy and you'll want to call him every night. And I imagine you driving across the New Mexico desert. But I think that I think it's important for him to miss you. And
so you're saying little contact or no contact?
I'm saying here and there, not to be I'm shutting you out, but I need to do something for myself for a minute. Okay. Because he's been doing something for himself for a long time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he needs to miss her without her being passive aggressive, but he needs to miss her and think oh, okay, so this is what it's like to be at the house alone. Oh, okay, so that's my advice. But it's painful because what you really want to do is go on a road trip with him as your husband.
I'm also wondering, do you guys want kids?
Yes. Yeah, we both do.
Do you know when you want kids?
I mean, I want kids maybe around the time I'm 30, between 30 and 35. But my family's pretty traditional, and I need a wedding. I need a marriage first, before I want kids.
Yeah, and that's smart. That's smart. But maybe that has something to
maybe he feels afraid of that too.
Yeah.
Ashley, I have a question for you. I mean, you know your your boyfriend, excuse me, really well. Let's say you did give him the ultimatum. What do you think he would say? How do you think he would feel?
I think he would be very upset by that.
Okay.
Do you think he would, like,
I don't think it's
leave
something
you?
he would like. I don't think he would take it seriously, because I think he knows that I don't know if I could ever actually really leave, you know? I don't want to leave. This is what I want. So it's hard.
I think it's important that you make him miss you, even if it's for just a weekend.
See, the other option, which is what I would do, except I think it wouldn't be, I think Anna's idea is probably going to be more effective. Like, I know it would be. But the other option would be just talk to him and just really make it clear that this is, like, very important to you. And, I mean, not an ultimatum, but just feel like, have you let him know how important it is to you? Because it sounds like if he's kind of brushing it off or laughing it off, he's not really hearing you.
Mm-hmm. No, I could definitely have a serious conversation with him about it.
But that could also, like, that's what I would do, because it's just easier than booking a trip. And I would probably be like, if I can't be totally honest, then what's the point? But at the same time, I don't know that wouldn't backfire. There are a lot of negatives in that sentence. That might backfire if you do that, because he might be like, oh, I can't stand this pressure. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it's all about timing. I think Allison, you're completely right. But it has to be at a time when he's not feeling completely beat from work.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be at a time when, you know, like post-sex, or like something where, like, it's all about
where
timing.
He's receptive. Yeah.
Yeah.
We see right through that, by the way.
You do?
I know.
Like, what do you mean? Like, give us an example, Sim.
Like asking for something, or, you know.
Right after sex? Like what?
I don't know.
Give us an example.
It could be anything. It
So
could
wait.
be anything.
So a girl is at sex with you, and right afterwards she's like, I really wanted that coat. I'm like, what?
Right, that would be the perfect time to ask.
And did you get her? Like, would you succumb to the?
Did you buy a coat after sex?
Probably at some point in my life.
A post-coital coat?
I'm not good at that kind of thing.
Good. I'm happy you're not. That's a
So
good
that's
thing.
why like my solution is like, run away for a while and let him miss you.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I
that
want
would
to.
be effective.
I think I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
You think it's fucked
I think
up?
no. I think it would be effective.
Yeah.
I think he needs to remember her value.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Sometimes the only way to do that is by just
disappearing.
Yeah. Or
Okay.
just like, you know, doing something that's very independent without him. And but the thing that sucks is that, like I was talking about before, is that it's lonely and it is painful, and you do things like, you know, going to the Grand Canyon or whatever, and you really want to share it with the person that you love. But it's important to it sucks that to remind a partner of your value, that it also requires sacrifice on your part. You know what I'm saying?
But you'll come back stronger, because
Oh,
you will
yeah.
have connected with yourself.
Oh yeah. And
While
he
you're
will be
gone.
so happy
And that's good.
to see you.
Do you have any ideas of where Ashley could go?
Ashley, where are you again?
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't have to-
Chicago.
Chicago.
Go to the art museums at Chicago, and like, I mean,
Okay.
they're amazing. There's all those gorgeous Van Goghs there. Like plan something that's. You don't have any kids. You will not be able to do that kind of thing when you have kids, and you're a teacher, so you do get that spring break thing off.
Yes, I do.
Yep. So I would plan at. You know what? Way better idea. Cabo.
Cabo by yourself.
Yeah. Seriously, though, like bring a ton of great books that maybe, like good beach books, and chill and like go into town and buy like some junky jewelry and some, I don't know, experience, like have an experience by yourself. So you remember the perspective of who you are independently without him. And then also in turn, he will miss you. He'll be totally confused about why you want to do this. But I think you can just say to him, listen, I hope we have a future together, but I also want to do a couple things before maybe that happens. So you got to play a hard game.
Yep.
Ashley, do you think we helped you?
Yes, definitely. Thank you for your help.
Oh, thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much.
And if you need a Cabo partner, I would love to come with you.
I would love that.
And keep us updated. Send us an email. We'd love to hear what's going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. We love you.
Good night.
Best of luck.
Good night.
That's a tough situation.
It's really tough.
Oh, my God.
I just think it's so interesting that your instinct is to, I don't want to call it playing a game because that's not.
It
no,
is
it's
playing a
your
game.
instinct is strategic, whereas mine is just
Be honest.
but I think it's because I don't have the like intestinal fortitude to do the strategic things. And I always think it would have been in my life better if I did. I'm just like really like, I'm not good at surprise parties. I'm not good at any, I don't have a poker face. I'm
No,
very
me
like all my
neither,
emotions
though.
are on my face.
No, but I do think that she cannot wait around for him or
Well, there's
pressure
no
him.
impetus.
And
for him
he
to
will
do it right now.
Be annoyed with her for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And so she has to become sexy to him. Mm-hmm. And that means being like, I'm an independent woman. I still am a catch.
Yeah.
And I think that
I didn't want to say this before, although of course she's going to listen to this, and this might bum some people out. When I hear that a couple has been together for that long and there's no proposal, I get like a uh-oh feeling. Do you also?
Totally.
Okay. Because I know a lot of people who were together for 10 years, 7 years, 8 years, and then broke up, and then the next relationship they were in was the one. Well, actually, my husband was in a 7-year relationship before me, and there was a few years in between. And then also I know someone else who was in like a 10-year relationship and then broke up and then met the woman that became his wife right away. And I don't know, like that always raises flags to me. Mm-hmm. Except that they're young.
That's what I'm saying. They're both 27.
Yeah.
And that's all they know. I mean, they probably met in college. And you grow up a lot. Every couple of years, at least guys do. I mean, I was a different person at 27 than I was at 30 and then at 32.
Right.
It's so, and he's been going through those changes. I know women mature at a much younger, quicker, faster clip than men. That's just a fact, at least from what I've noticed. So maybe he's not there maturity-wise. He's just not there yet. She's been there for a while.
Right.
And he's not there yet. And hopefully they'll, get there together at some point.
All right. I will. Wait, what are you guys doing?
Don't worry about it.
Passing notes. Notes are being passed.
Allison, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I really, really enjoyed it.
You have been our best advice giver, and I can't thank you enough.
I
And
don't believe that, but thank you.
you have an amazing podcast. Allison Rosen is my new best friend.
Is your new best friend, which is what you just said.
Well, I was hoping.
Yeah,
yes.
you're personalizing it.
Possessive. But thank you again for being
Thank you
here.
for having me.
And I hope you come back, and I really would love to come on your show.
I would love to have you anytime you want to come on.
Oh.
And if people are wondering where they can I plug my podcast?
Oh, please.
Wondering where to find my podcast, go to my newly redesigned website, AllisonRosen.com. There's just one L in Allison. You can blame my parents for that. And you can find me on Twitter at Allison Rosen. You can also find me on iTunes, itunes.com/Allison Rosen.
I love you.
I love you.
Anna, your turn to plug.
Okay,
plug
yes.
our podcast.
Please subscribe to Anna Faris Is Unqualified on iTunes. And also, I did want to say that weird awkward thing about having Allison Rosen on our podcast tonight was she came completely naked. And
was that the wrong call? Should I not have done that?
No, it was beautiful. You have incredible body.
I just want to be honest. I'm really honest.
Yeah, you were honest and open. But I know it got a little cold outside, so if you want to borrow a robe or anything,
thank you.
I will totally. And I gotta tell you, your tits fucking rock.
Thank you.
Good night, sweet listeners.
And don't forget, if you like the podcast, please give us a nice review. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Good night.